up, guys?
Howdy, brothers.
Welcome back to another episode of Whiskey and Water.
I'm your co-host, Jess.
And I'm your co-host, Liv.
And we are Whiskey and Water.
And we're going to run it full send. We're not
Full
doing
send?
that over. Nope.
No.
Happy Monday, or whatever day you end up listening to this. I hope you guys have had a great week, great weekend, doing lots of fun things, taking care of yourself, drinking water, staying hydrated, etc., etc.
Drinking whiskey.
And we have such a good episode today.
We do. We have on Helen Hall, who is a just wellness entrepreneur badass.
Rock star.
Yeah. She owns Blender Bomb. She owns Drink Tipsy.
She co-owns Drink Tipsy.
Yeah.
And also Hustle Smoothie. She also has like a food truck that does like the Hustle Smoothie, and she owns 80/20 Market, which is a wellness market. And she's just like freaking awesome.
Yeah, no, she's amazing.
She's great. And her vibe is so chill. Like you'll see once we hop on with her, she's literally sitting on her front porch and just so chill.
Living her best life.
I love it. And like I said in the episode, it's so funny because like when we have our guests on, we never know what to expect.
Never.
Like, you know, Dr. Caroline was like in a full ass professional studio setup. And then we get Helen and she's like just totally chilling
On her porch.
On her porch. Like, love it.
Love it.
Such a good conversation, though. We get into what she majored in school, which is not what you think it would be. We talk a lot about, you know, the process of making a product, the process of getting into Whole Foods and Walmart and what that whole thing looked like.
Yeah.
And there's a really funny story about her Walmart journey. So definitely stick around for that.
Yes. And of course, you know, in true Whiskey and Water fashion, we do get a little bit spiritual.
Yeah, we do, because it's only natural. And she was ready and willing to go there. So we went there, and it was, just a really good conversation talking about building a team. And we talk a little bit about giving equity to men, which you should never do. Just kidding. Okay. So lots to look forward to. But before we get into that, let's do a little bit of catch up.
Squirt, squirt.
What's new? How's life?
Well, me and Liv actually hung out the other day. One of the first times.
Weird.
Yeah.
Honestly, don't recommend.
0-10 recommend.
0-10. Not a good time.
No, and it truly kind of was not a good time. It was because we were like, you know, spending time together or whatever. But the experience itself.
So we went to Joe Rogan, which
speaks for itself.
I don't know. Like, I just didn't really understand his type of comedy.
Neither did
prior. I knew he was a comedian, but like I just didn't give much thought into it. Tyler and all his friends were going, and I was like, yeah, for sure, I'll go.
And like she invited me, and I was like, oh fuck yeah! Like I've heard, you know, controversial things about Joe Rogan, but I can handle controversy, and I've been a fan of Joe Rogan since like Fear Factor days, like, you know, and I know that he's a really intelligent person. But you know, I have heard things on like the misogyny front and just like offensive things, but you know, like I can listen to offensive humor, but however, this was next level.
Was it his comedy that was next level, or the night?
Both.
Yeah.
Because as you can imagine, it brought out every scumbag in South Florida.
It just brought out a very specific crowd, and you didn't even hear the one before him. The one before him was worse. And I don't know, like, I don't want to be those people who are like, oh, I can't take a joke, blah, blah, blah. But like, this is what I was explaining.
I can't take a joke. I make the joke.
This is what I was explaining to Noelle and her boyfriend after the show. Is like, there's a lot I can laugh at, you know? And I get humor is supposed, like, that style of humor is supposed to be it's supposed to be fucked up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's also things that I simply cannot laugh at, and that's like things that are really traumatic. And like I can't laugh about rape. I can't laugh about it's just not funny. Sexual abuse. I can't laugh at people's trauma, and
it's just not funny.
Like, it's funny when it doesn't have. That's never funny. But like even the other jokes, like it's funny when it's not you, right? Like
exactly.
And then what, you know, like as soon as it's personal and it is about you, it's not so funny anymore because it stings a little bit. And I think people are so quick to just like not be empathetic and they can laugh at other people.
It's dehumanizing humor.
Yeah, and I don't know. There's just so many things about life that I think are so funny that you can make jokes about things that aren't people.
100%.
My personal
like, you know,
opinion.
like he's out there like, you know, making fun of like fat women and shit. And I'm like, bro, shut the fuck up.
It's like, 2021.
It's, like, okay, like that's all you can fucking make fun of.
Like life is so funny. There's so much material to work with. I don't understand.
You gotta fucking talk about overweight people.
I don't understand.
Like, what is this? Fucking the 2000s, sir? Like, get it together. It was just
so not our preferred, you know, type of comedy.
Lame. And then, as you can imagine, you guys know me. little fiery spirit I am. I'm at the fucking bar waiting to get a drink. And mind you, these lines are taking like forever.
Oh, and this is just the beginning of the night. Like the whole night has its own like narrative.
We have a bit of a story time to take you through.
Yeah, we're gonna take you guys for the journey.
So I'm standing in line with one of Olivia's fiance's friends. We're waiting in line for a drink. It takes literally 45 minutes.
I was worried.
Like,
not to mention going in, they put your phone in this magnetic case so you cannot get it out. They give you that case, but I guess for copyright reasons, they don't want people recording. But it's fucked up.
Did I have my phone out of it? Maybe.
Yeah, Jess just like slid right in, like
because
the person she is. But anyway, so like I couldn't text her and be like, "Yo, are y'all
fucking
okay?"
alive?
Like they were there for like 45 minutes at least. Like me and Nick were like, "Dude, like we were worried." Me and Nick were like, "Where the fuck are they? Are they okay?"
Yeah. So I'm standing in line with this guy, and everyone in line is getting really like,
frustrated,
impatient, frustrated, yelling, like being really obscene, like for no fucking reason. Like, yelling at these people making the drinks isn't going to make anyone go any faster.
Yeah, you're yelling at people who are making probably $12 an hour.
Literally.
Like, for what?
So whatever. People are like, and people are worried that the show is going to start, blah, blah, blah. So people are like coming in and being like, how are you? Like literally like just being obscene. Like I said, you can imagine the kind of people that this is bringing out. And directly in front of me, there's like this like couple, I guess it might have been like a, first, second date type of thing. And the guy, I think he's already semi-intoxicated and he's being so fucking rude. Like he's talking really loudly about the bartender who was in earshot. And he's like, he'd already been being obnoxious, but where I started to draw the line was he was like, look at this fucking pedophile dude. Like, just like shitting on the bartender. And I'm like, and it's because the bartender looks, like I suppose like a stereotypical, dork / creep, whatever. But like he's a human, and he's
so unnecessary.
It's just so unnecessary,
and it's so disheartening to know like there are humans out there like that
that are like that, and that you would say that like loud, like he was trying to be funny, like he was saying it because he thought he would get a response.
He was being a bully,
and I literally don't even look at him, and I put on my face of disgust, and I'm like, I audibly say to him, I go, that is so fucking rude and unnecessary. And then Olivia, I'm with my friend Mike, and he's like, nah, chill. And I'm like, no. I'm like, fuck this guy. That is so fucking rude. He's like, nah, dude. And then the guy turns around. He's like, I saw this guy come up with the van. Like, no, don't worry. He's actually one. I'm like, you're still trying to be funny, and you're still missing the mark. So whatever, he had already pissed me off. And then he like turns around, we like get closer to the bartender. He like turns around, he's like, hey, sorry if I offended you. I literally just look at him and I nod my head. I'm not, giving him anything. And he asked my friend, he goes, oh, did you serve? And my friend's like, no, I didn't. He's like, oh, just, thought because of the haircut, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, well, I served. And then he like looks at me and he's like, I served for your fucking freedom. And so that I could say whatever the fuck I want. Like as if he's like trying to like fight. I guess he was under the impression that I was like some liberal hippie bullshit. So he's like trying to tell me how he like fought for my life. Mind you, motherfucker was in the Coast Guard. Not to discredit anyone, but my father was also a 23-year Marine Corps veteran.
Like you're fucking with the wrong bitch.
I'm well versed in military.
I'm literally a military brat. Like shut the fuck up.
My little brother is quite literally in Okinawa in the Marine Corps. Like I'm not the one. I'm not the one to have this conversation
Wrong one,
with.
Brother. Wrong one, brother.
Yeah, like
miss me with the bullshit.
Miss me with the bullshit. And so
wait, what are we saying now?
Come correct.
Come correct
or don't come at all. And so, I was like, great. Like, love that for you. And he goes that. And I tell him, I'm like, yes, sir. Like, I'm well-versed. My father's a Marine. My brother's a Marine, blah, 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 whatever. And he like keeps trying to like, just kind of get a rise out of me. And I was like, sir, you fought for your fucking freedom and for your like, freedom of speech. And I have the freedom to ignore the fuck out of you right now. And he's like, yeah, you do. And he like finally walks away after like huffing and puffing about like me being a bitch. And it was just like, and that was like just the start. That was before I sat down in the seats, guys. That was what was occurring.
Yeah. So after that, these guys were sitting behind us and they were like our age, like pretty young. And they were just like so like loud talking about whatever it was they're talking about.
Not even relevant to the show.
Talking about and like the show is going on at this point. Joe Rogan is on stage, right? And they're talking about their beer, and then they're like commenting on the jokes that he's making, like as if like they were just talking about like what he was talking about. So I politely twice look back and go, guys, could you please, I'm sorry, but just turn it down just a little bit, just
That's
a little.
exactly how you said it.
I'm not asking you to shut the fuck up. I'm just saying like turn the volume of your voices down because I cannot hear anything else other than your voices right behind us. So I asked that twice nicely. Finally, Tyler gets pissed off, turns around and is like, yo, shut the fuck up. We're at a show.
He goes, we paid for these fucking tickets.
He's like, shut up. We're at a show. And then I was like, oof, but like totally necessary.
Warranted.
Yeah, warranted. And then their little friend comes along and he's sitting in his chair like this, both hands on his head. And I turn around and I go,
with his head in between his knees.
and you know, we're adults. We know what that means, right? It's about to go down. So I turn around, I look at him straight in the eyes, his friend, and I go, I think you should bring your friend to the bathroom right now because if we get thrown up on, it's game over. And he's like, no. I won't let that happen. I promise, right? And I'm like, boy,
I turn around.
Fuck out of here with that bullshit because I know a drunk person when I see one and I know what's happening next and it's literally vomit.
So I turn around right after that and I'm like, hey, I'm a really nice person. But if I get thrown up on, I will kick your fucking teeth in.
And this is verbatim.
Like just to really, send it home.
To say that like we can't say that we didn't say something.
Exactly.
Like we said something. We knew it was happening.
We told you, get your boy.
5 minutes later, what do you know? Homeboy is puking, like projectile vomiting.
All over my seat.
All over our seats.
So fortunately, I had heard a little bit of a burp, right? And I immediately stand up.
We were ready.
I don't even like try to be like
we were ready.
Like I don't even try to be quiet about it.
No.
I was like, oh fuck.
We're heated. Of course, like this was a scene. Like it was a scene. It was a scene. Everyone in the nearby area looked up, saw what was happening, was like, ooh.
Everyone vacate. And it's on, like he was directly behind us.
Our whole row like just started walking out. I look at them, I'm like, y'all need it. Rancid.
Horrible.
I look at them and they're just sitting there. And I'm like, I look and I'm
she
like,
lost it.
What the fuck are you guys doing? I was like, get the fuck up and leave. Like I was mean, guys. You know me. I'm water. I'm
That was
nice.
one of the meanest I've ever seen live.
I'm nice. But like once you cross that line with me, no, goodbye, sir. You are done. So had to, deal with that situation. We left the area. We could not sit in those seats anymore.
She calls the manager,
the supervisor.
Dude, they had to wheel this guy out. Like EMTs had.
They might not had to, but I was like, no, he needs to be embarrassed and he needs to get like a fine, like a ticket of being drunk in public. I'm like,
well, from
y'all
what
need
I
to
saw,
handle your shit.
The EMTs came in with the thing.
Well, because I told her, I was
Yeah.
like, he needs to be taken out of the building. Our seats need to be cleaned and we need a refund for the night.
Yeah.
So
none of which happened.
So, they did what they could. They set us up on high chairs and we tried to enjoy the rest of the night of comedy that we did not find funny at all. But
yeah.
All in all.
And the entire time, I'm like, why the fuck did I come here? I'm like, I should have known better.
But that is the story of how our night went. Honestly, it was still funny. Like,
yeah, it's a funny story now.
We were with people like that I love, all of Tyler's friends and Jess and my sister. So it was still fun because of the company we were on. But it was a night. It was
really, even before that, we were at fucking Yard House.
Oh, and then that was a shit show.
Oh, God.
We walked out eating our meals, but that's a whole other story. But yeah, it was interesting. Yeah, I can definitely say we're probably never going to another Joe Rogan show.
Oh, couldn't pay me.
But if you had fun, awesome, good for you. Glad you had a laugh.
Well, that's our little story time. Yeah. We have some additional catch up.
That is our story time. What else are we talking about?
So I did want to talk about mood a little bit. We have finally transitioned over to Slack. Which has been great. Like if you have a small business, would highly recommend.
Well, if you have a team, if you have like, even if it's, I think, one person, it's beneficial. I think the plan we're on is free at the moment.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. So, and it's something
and we have like 5 people on it.
We had wanted to integrate Slack for like probably the past 6 months.
Yeah.
We had been talking about it, but haven't actually pulled the trigger. Hadn't. And we finally did. And it's honestly been a really, really great decision. The whole thing of like trying to have work conversations on your personal iMessage app is really just not good for balance, for boundaries, things like
toxic.
that. So opening up the Slack was definitely a great move, and we've been really just enjoying it.
And it also allows us to have multiple like channels, i.e. like group chats. So like we don't have to bother like our other team members with stuff that's like not related to them. Yeah. We also have like this Slack channel called like Random Thoughts, where anyone from the team can just brain dump any little idea they have. So you can do stuff like that, which is really cool. And it's like fun for like company culture. Yeah. We like talk about shit about clients in there. And no, I'm kidding.
Yeah, definitely.
No, I'm kidding.
And yeah, just as far as like mood goes, we're just so excited about the progress and the clients that we're pitching to. And we're really just between Jess and I are trying to think about like what our company culture what we want it to be and what it means to us, and like how we want our employees to feel working for us now that we have like 2 official employees and 1 intern. But that's just like that's the mindset we're in right now, is just thinking about those things that would make someone like love working for us and with us and be a part of our team. So that's been fun. That's been really fun, because we haven't had that opportunity before ever. You know, like there's Kennedy, who's our podcast assistant, and that's more one-on-one. But thinking about like having a company and a team and like the type of energy we want to facilitate and making it a safe space, and you know, just holding that,
checking in on people's like mental health and wellness.
Yeah, and like just applying everything that we've hated from our other jobs and making sure that is like never how we operate.
Yeah. We like created like we're doing like weekly brain dumps and like collaborative brainstorming ideas. We're doing like a monthly check-in where we kind of have just a really honest conversation with our employees of, you know, how they felt like we maybe could have been better bosses, or how, you know, we feel like they maybe could have improved. Just very honest.
Yeah, so it's fun. It's been good. I've been really like enjoying this side of
me too.
Of the business. So yeah, that's what we're getting into. And then what else? I heard an idea from Boss Babe Podcast, which is a great podcast if you don't already know about it. And they talked about maybe incorporating like a segment called Highs and Lows. And I thought it was such a great idea. So total, you know, not that it's like an original take, but total credit to them for the idea. But we thought it would be nice to start implementing that to our episodes of just doing like the high of the week and the low of the week. So we're going to start doing that. Welcome to High and Low.
Welcome.
Honestly, we could just call it whiskey and water, because that's basically, well, no, I guess it's not. Well, I guess water is not a low. Why am I?
Oh, I thought you were calling whiskey a low. So, it can be.
Well, you know,
it can be.
It's how you see it. All right. So, what is your high of the week? And let's start with the low. The low of the week and then the high of the week. So we're ending on a positive note.
Yeah. Okay, my low of the week.
Too soon?
Okay, it happened last night, which, you know, it is like, you know, we're just airing our fucking shit out here.
It's okay, it's the brothers. This is a safe space, guys.
My low of the week is fucking finding out that my freaking crazy ass ex-boyfriend.
Crazy. If y'all are here from like the first season, you know who we're talking about.
Yeah. So I get a text from my ex-boyfriend's brother's fiance, and I'm still very close with his brother and his fiance, because, you know, just during the relationship, and they were really there for me throughout, like when that person went crazy. Like they were protecting me, like they were like, you know, whatever, my people. And she texted me and she's like, hey, there's no chance that he asked you permission to use your photo as his new album cover for whatever fucking music he has coming out. And so I'm like, no, he didn't. Can you please send that to me? And she sends me a screenshot. And lo and behold, it is a photo of me that he has used for whatever new song release or album bullshit.
Yeah, it's her body, but it's her.
Yeah, it's my body. And the thing is, it's not even like my intellectual property, because I'm not the one who shot it. So if the photographer sees that before I'm able to convince him to remove it, then he's going to find himself in a fucking legal situation. So it's just so stupid. And it's like, it's obvious that he's just like, I guess, trying to get my attention or something. So
So,
yeah.
all right. So that's
fun.
a low. We're going to deal with that.
We love harassment.
Yeah. What's your high for the week?
My high for the week. Let's get into it. I would say my high for the week is I just got booked to go to this festival in Vegas. It's called Life is Beautiful. Insane lineup.
Like the best of the best.
Like incredible. Like Billie Eilish, Tame Impala, fucking Green Day, like, and just like people, like artists that I truly love.
It's a 3-day festival too.
Yeah, it's a 3-day festival, and I'm getting booked, and it's like I'm getting sponsored by this energy drink. And it's gonna be really fun.
Yeah, and it's through Lindsay.
Yeah, Lindsay from Vamp.
We had on the podcast. I don't remember what episode number it was, but she owns
like 74. That's like calling out to me for some reason.
Vamped, and it's just so cool to see like us having these long-lasting relationships with our guests that we've had on. Like the podcast is so amazing for networking and just bringing people who are just like fucking great people into our lives. So it's so cool to see it come full circle because now she's bringing Jess out on this 3-day vacation on a vamped trip.
And it's paid.
Which is amazing. And like, dude, 5 years ago, we were like dying to work with Vamped. And like, now she's our girl and we have these opportunities. And it's just so awesome to see things come full circle.
That's definitely the high of the week. Very, very exciting.
Yeah.
So I'm going to that in like 2 weeks. So I'm going to start pulling some festival fits.
Yeah,
very excited.
Excited for you.
Yeah. So how about you, brother?
Okay. So my low of the week started early. And, you know, for those who don't know, I recently went through a loss of a close family friend, someone who was like a brother to me. So there has been different stages of the grief. And that's been really interesting because this is really the first time I've experienced a close loss. And I'm experiencing grief for the first time, basically.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see like the emotions that are coming up. I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. So like for like 2 weeks, I didn't really cry. And then I got home from my little weekend trip last weekend or Monday. And like, I just had a really hard night. And like out of nowhere, I was kind of triggered by something, I guess. And I was just like bawling, like my eyes out. And we were like, me and Tyler were in bed, like the lights were off, we were going to sleep. And like
it happens like that.
Just started bawling. And you know, he obviously did his best in consoling me, but I was just like, whoa, where did this come from? Like I thought I was doing good, you know?
Yeah.
So that was definitely a low, but you know,
healing is never linear.
Yeah,
you know?
Definitely not. And that's just, you know, I welcome it. Like, it's just gonna happen. But definitely, like, of course, we're always transparent, always honest with you guys. And, like, that's just real life. Like, shit just sucks sometimes. And there's nothing you can do about it to make it better. And, like, death is one of those things.
Yeah.
So that was definitely a low. But a high is that I hit 500 subscribers on my YouTube channel.
Yay! Hell yeah, brother. We love that for you.
Yeah. It seems, honestly, like such a low number. But I'm still going to celebrate it. It is a milestone.
As you should.
I mean, started from 0. So 500 is pretty good. And, yeah, I'm just finally starting to see some traction with my YouTube channel, which is really nice because I started like a year ago and like I'm starting to just finally see some numbers and some videos that are performing well and some metrics that I'm like, okay, I'll take that, you know? So yeah, that's good. That's exciting because I've been wanting to, you know, grow that platform for a long time now. So good stuff.
Well deserved.
Finally
brother.
seeing like the fruits of my labor, you know, which is a really rewarding feeling.
Yeah. Can't relate. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, and I think that's it.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the episode. Helen is a rock star, and you guys are gonna love this. If you guys are loving it so far, please take a screenshot, share it on your story, let us know that you're listening, even if you don't post it. And
we'll see you on the other side. We love you guys. All right, guys, we are on with Helen. Thank you so much for joining us. I love your little natural background. It kind of looks like a Zoom background, but it's like not. It's actually, she's outside. Thank you so much for joining us. We're so excited to get into all of the projects that you are involved in. For our audience who doesn't already know you, can you tell them a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so my name is Helen. I'm 28 years old. I live in Charleston, South Carolina. That's the Zoom background that you see. It's like blue skies and palms everywhere. I'll kind of show you.
I love it.
It's magical.
Cute.
I have been traveling for like 4 weeks and I've really honestly been gone since February and it's now September. So I'm so glad to be back in my house.
Yeah.
But a little bit about me is I have some companies in the health food space. So we've got Blender Bombs, which is a food product that is sold at Whole Foods and Walmart and Costco and on Amazon and our website, of course. And it's just a ball of nuts and seeds that you throw in your smoothie. And that brand also has some bars, some granola, some like date syrup, and a smoothie butter. That's one company. And then the other companies that we have going on is we've got a smoothie bar, which sells the blender bombs, but also sells the smoothies and some other local products in Charleston. And then we have a clean wine spritzer company, which is called Tipsy Spritzers. And that is a wine-based low alcohol spritzer. And what's the last company that we have is 80/20 Market. And they all kind of, all these companies work together, right?
Okay.
Like the goal is to get people to eat healthier and eat more plants and like make healthier decisions, but they're just different umbrellas. So 80/20 sells brownies and cookies and candles and just like better for you products.
Love that.
So cool.
Yeah, so much going on.
Oh.
I'm curious, what led you kind of to the wellness space and kind of niching down on that market specifically?
Yeah, so I went to the University of South Carolina, which, as you know, is the easy SEC school to gain 30 pounds your freshman year. So I gained 30 pounds my freshman year, had so much fun, wouldn't change it for the world, but did the whole yo-yo dieting thing. And when I finally settled back into like my homeostasis body weight and just, you know, being completely free of food restriction or just being controlled by food, it was because of just having a smoothie every day, like a certain smoothie, now what's called a blender bomb smoothie, and eating mostly whole food, plant-based. And I fell in love with how it made me feel. And I just found myself like telling a lot of other people how it made me feel. And people were asking me like how I lost the weight. And I became a personal trainer after college. And again, like, you know, you can work out all you want. For your mental health, it's great. For your physical strength, it's great. But when it comes to getting back to your like homeostasis body weight, it's really about the food more so. It's 80% food, you know, 20% exercise. So that's kind of how I got into this space, is just like honestly wanting to share my journey and help other people.
Love that. Did you have a background in business? Like, what was your major in school?
Hell no. My major was fashion, which
Okay.
again, it's the state of South Carolina, so be warned. But yeah, so I just partied in college more so than studied. Did not learn anything about business. And I kind of think it's a blessing that I didn't learn anything about business, because I didn't know any better than what I was doing. Like I was just doing what I thought was the right thing to do. I didn't ask permission from anybody. Like I didn't really ask for guidance from anybody at the beginning. Obviously now I do, but I think not having a business degree actually ended up helping me, because it didn't give me fear. Like I didn't know what not to do or what to do.
That's a hot take.
Yeah,
I love that though. That's a really interesting insight. I mean, we are definitely components. I don't know.
Proponents.
Proponents.
Thank you.
Thank you, Helen.
I was like, it sounds like that word.
I'm like, what are we components
Yes,
of?
like,
The universe.
I know where this sentence is going.
We are proponents of, not forcing yourself to go to college to figure out what you want to do or just to get a random degree. We both are college dropouts, so we can definitely relate.
Oh my God, I love college dropouts. Honestly,
they're the best.
Hires.
They are. No
Because
disrespect
it's
to
like
people
you
who got
value
their
your
degree.
time, and you understand that like time is finite, and you're not going to spend it, and you're not going to spend that money on something that you're not actually being educated on. I could talk about that for days.
Oh, I know. We could do a
Anyway.
whole episode about it. I think it's just what most people think they have is the next right step. And everyone, of course, wants to do what's right for them. So no hate to anyone who has their degree. That's amazing and never a bad thing. But, definitely our take on it is that, especially with the generation that we're in and the world we live in with the internet, we just like, there's ways around it. But my point in saying that is just, I love that that's your take, because obviously we have a lot of entrepreneurs on and business owners. And I always like to ask what their degree was. And like 95% of the time they didn't study business, which is really interesting. So with that being said, I'm curious to know what kind of gave you this like entrepreneurial spirit, fire, and how you kind of cultivated that.
Yeah. Wow. Good question. Oh my gosh, I've honestly never even thought about it. So both my parents own their own business.
Okay.
And my mom was always like, you've got to have your own thing going. Like you don't ever need to be reliant on a man or whatever. So I did have that ingrained in me, but my parents also, they didn't like give me everything I wanted growing up. I had to work for things. So I had to get side hustles or side jobs. And my parents would never give me money for like partying or traveling or like events, right? But if I was like, I want to make this arts and crafts, I mean, it was balls to the walls at Michael's or Hobby Lobby.
Oh, I love
An
that.
unlimited amount of money on arts and crafts and anything
Cool.
creative or sports. And so I guess I didn't even realize that until now, but they kind of didn't let me, spend money willy-nilly. It had to be towards something productive. And also another thing that I realized this year that helped me with my entrepreneurial spirit is my brother. So my brother, I've talked about this on a few podcasts, but my brother is a year and a half older than me, and he has learning disabilities. He's super high functioning. It's called a language-based learning disability. So you almost borderline wouldn't even know that he has a learning disability.
Sure.
But what is different about him is that he has no fear, and he asks so many freaking questions, and he retains information very well, but he will walk across the street without looking both ways. And so he just doesn't think about that. Like if he was to drive, he just would see a stop sign and it wouldn't even resonate that he should come to a stop, things like that.
Yeah.
Just honestly, things that we all do, right?
Yeah.
But because I grew up watching him have no fear, and he was older than me, and my parents raised him a certain way, there was a lot about the way that they raised him that they also raised me a particular way. And I never saw them get mad at him for making a mistake. They never got mad at him for leaving the door open, or it was expected to make mistakes, and it was expected to learn from the mistakes. And so whenever I made mistakes, I don't have any trauma around like fucking up, basically. And so with business, a lot of times you make mistakes, but you pivot. But I don't ever spend a second like hyper focusing on my mistakes, I guess.
Love that.
That's incredible.
Love that. Yeah.
And I love that you can kind of have that hindsight and realize that that's kind of what has attributed to, your spirit. And I think that that's incredible because the fear of failure is essentially what holds everyone and anyone back. So,
yeah.
And I feel like failure should be so much more welcomed than it is, because all it means is that you're doing something right, because you can take that next step and you can pivot and you can adjust, and it's learning.
It's like a sign just leading you in the right direction.
Yeah. It's like, great, I failed.
Like
I can get up and go again. Mm-hmm.
I remember just my brother being bullied by anyone and everyone growing up and made fun of, because when you're young, like you don't have the awareness to know this person has a learning disability, or like this person's just weird. You think this person's just weird. You don't actually know there's something wrong with them. But it also hurt me in some ways, because I was so used to watching him just take a beating and just move right along as if nothing had happened, which is great for my mistakes. But it's also, and this is something a hard lessons I learned this year, was that it also led me to be in some really toxic relationships with like my ex fiance and like my ex business partner, because I would just take the beating and it wouldn't affect me mentally, because I just would compartmentalize it and know my worth over here. Like I still had a very strong self-worth, and like I wouldn't let whatever he or she was doing affect me. But it also was bad idea, because I'm bred to take beatings and just keep moving forward. So in business, it's great, but in my personal life, I've got to be more aware now. I've learned that.
Yeah. And I love that you mentioned that, because especially like a big theme on our show is all about balance, whiskey and water. Like that's what inspired our name and pretty much our whole brand. And I love that you were like transparent and honest about that, because there are two sides to every coin, like you can probably find a con to every single pro. And that's a perfect example, especially in the world of business, like, and trying to balance your personal life and like the fine line that comes between like, things being, like you said, things being good for business, but not necessarily great for your personal development or your growth,
Yeah, or like finding my surrounding, my right people.
Yeah, definitely.
Luckily, I do have friends that would like shake me on the shoulders and be like, Helen, what the fuck are you still doing in this relationship? But of course, I'm like, that doesn't affect me mentally, so I'm just gonna keep doing it.
Literally me. Olivia's the one that shakes me, and I'm just like, yeah, no.
I'm happy.
I'll sit here and suffer. It's fine. It's great.
You're mentioning a lot of we, and I definitely want to know if you have partners involved. You mentioned an ex-partner. So what does that look like? Do you have partners in all of the businesses? Are you solo in some of them?
I say we for the most part, because I like hate the word I, just because, as we all know, anyone in business whatever success or failure you have in business, it's not an I, like it's definitely a team thing. So you'll rarely hear me use the word I. It honestly makes me want to throw up. But but I do not have any business partners in Blender Bombs. I do have a business partner in Tipsy Spritzers. She's shark. She's like the backbone of that business too. And I have business partners in the smoothie bar, like a majority of it, but I do have business partners that are also like sharks, and they're my rocks. So I need them. 80/20. I have a business partner as well. Like one of my best friends is my business partner.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Love that. So I'm really curious about like what the process has been like for you. One, creating a product.
Yeah.
I mean, especially in like the food space, because I mean, I can't even imagine, like, I don't even know how they calculate the fucking calories on the back of the thing. So I'm just really curious about like developing that product
and like what that process was like.
Yeah. And then we can get into getting it into stores.
Yeah.
Okay. So food is an easy product to develop. Alcohol, like the Tipsy Spritzers brand, has been a bitch and a half, and I can kind of go through the differences. So with food, there's not a lot of regulation around selling food online. So I started Blender Bombs by selling it online. There's not a lot of regulations in general, to be completely honest. That's why it's important to trust the person that you're buying your food from, because technically you're allowed to be wrong by 20% on your nutrition labels, which now that I'm in the industry, I understand, because sometimes, I'll get into that later, but to start but just be warned is what I'm saying. I started making the Blender Bombs in my kitchen. I would buy all the ingredients from Costco. I would drive 3 or 4 times a week, 45 minutes away to Costco, and get all these ingredients in bulk. And then I would go to my kitchen and roll the Blender Bombs with my bare, well, I had gloves on, because it was so sticky, but I would roll the Blender Bombs with my bare gloves and then put them in a bag, seal the bag. And that's how I started making them at first. And how I came up with the recipe is, in college, I worked with a doctor on my overeating, like borderline binge eating issues. And he explained to me that you're not getting enough fiber and you're not getting enough nutrients. You're not getting every essential amino acid, every essential fatty acid that you need, just because I was eating super processed foods all the time. And so he gave me a list of all these nuts and seeds, and I started putting them in my smoothie. And when I wanted my clients, my personal training clients, to start making that same smoothie, they wouldn't do it because it took too many steps. Like it was opening up 10 different bags every morning, 12, 13 different bags every morning to make your smoothie. And so I like math, and it's the one thing that I'm okay at. I'm not good at like finances, but I'm okay with like adding and subtracting and dividing.
Oh, that's nice. Lucky you.
Yeah.
We can't relate. We don't have the same gift.
I know, but finances I don't like. And so I measured out all the ingredients. I weighed all the ingredients. I put them in a bowl, and I calculated how much the ball needed to weigh to have the right ratios of all those nuts and seeds and dates in there. So then I started rolling the ball. I got the size that it needed. 2 tablespoons was the perfect size. And I did that for about 3 months. And then as orders kept coming in, I needed to get someone else to make the ball, like the Blender Bombs. Like that's just where my brain went. Like this is taking, the whole goal with business is maximum reward, minimum amount of effort. So what to me was taking up all of my time that could easily be outsourced, and that was the production. So I called a catering company in town. The first catering company that I talked to was the one who started rolling the Blender Bombs for me, and I just paid them per bag. So I had to calculate how much time, I had to calculate my labor as if I was getting paid $15 an hour to roll these Blender Bombs. I calculated how long it took me to make them, calculated the price of everything by calculating the weight, and landed on a price like, I'll pay you X amount per bag. And that way it's up to you to be as efficient as I was as efficient,
Yeah, I like that.
And the trigger point for me outsourcing was one time I got a letter from a customer being like, hey, there's a cat hair in the bomb. And I was like, all right, we got to get that out of the kitchen.
Whoops.
we got to go.
You're like, one free bag for you.
Oh, I was like, here's $50 gift card. Like, go to town. Literally.
Yeah.
And then after that, I started paying that same catering kitchen to do the shipping. I would print the shipping labels, and I would get the boxes delivered to them and deliver the shipping labels every few days. And then that got bigger. And this was the hardest part, I think, was figuring out how to mass produce.
Right.
And I had no idea what to do. I didn't even know what to Google. All I know is the word mass production. And that word on Google has 10,000 hits, like 10 billion hits. That didn't help. Googling it didn't help. And podcasts weren't really a big thing when I started this business. So I didn't have mentorship there. But I did know someone who had a bar company. And I knew someone who knew someone who had a bar company. And this guy was like, love him to death, but he was a partier, alcoholic, like he didn't have his shit together. So it took me calling him like 32 times, literally over a span of 3 months before he picked up. And when he finally picked up, he was like, you need to search for a co-packer with a VMAG machine. And so I typed in co-packer VMAG machine. I called the first co-packer, and that's the co-packer we still use today.
Wow,
Like,
nice.
fucking answered my fucking call 3 months ago. This would have been a lot better, but it's fine. Yeah. So then that's kind of how we scaled there. And other things, I saved like every penny possible. I saved all my money.
Wow. And you're the sole owner of Blender Bomb. So you self-funded the entire thing?
Yeah. It started with literally $300.
Wow. I love that.
That's great. No loans, no grants, no sharks.
We have a line of credit now.
Okay. Of course. I mean,
so just to support like Walmart. But you asked about Whole Foods. So like how we got into Whole Foods.
Whole Foods and Walmart. I think like stores in
Yeah.
general, like that is such a huge goal for like anyone who creates a product. I feel like especially in the wellness industry, like that is probably their top goal. So I want to, definitely hear your experience with that.
And I will say I had someone over here yesterday who owns like this awesome cookie company in Charleston. I told her the same thing. Like you get to a point where you got to go two directions with your business. You either stay the trajectory that you're on where, you do $1 million a year in sales and you have really good cash flow. So you're taking home, 200, 300K a year if you're doing over $1 million in sales and you don't have any overhead. That's a very comfortable life. It's actually more than comfortable. It's phenomenal, especially living in South Carolina.
Definitely.
Or, yeah, it's incredible. And you're working for yourself, you're hustling, or you can go the direction where you're not going to have a lot of money for the next 10 years, but you're going to get acquired for multi-million dollars. Like you can get acquired for like $15, $20 million if you keep on the trajectory, but your take home is going to be a hell of a lot less, it's going to be a lot more work, but you're going to be able to expand your brand nationally rather than just staying locally. So you got to really look at yourself in the mirror when you're making this decision. And are you willing to give up some of your company down the road? Like, I know I'm probably going to have to give up some of my company down the road to grow. B, are you okay working for someone else down the road? Like someone else coming in, taking over and readjusting your business. It's not your business anymore. C, are you okay taking a smaller salary? D, are you okay with managing a big fucking team and making a lot of mistakes and your stress levels are going to be 10x what they would be if it was just you?
Right.
So you really got to ask yourself those tough questions. And also like, are you good with money? Are you good with saving money? Are you good with investing in, consultants to help you mentor you? A lot of times the answer is going to be no for most people. So, and there are days when I'm like, damn, I wish I was just still small, because that was the life. Right. But at the end of the day, my mission was not to sell cookies and like make things taste really good for people. Like my mission is to get people to eat more plants, and like we got to stop mass production of animals. So the more I can get people to realize how good it feels to add more plants in your life by making it easier, by giving them a smoothie every day. If you look at what billionaires do, like 20 things billionaires will do every day, 8 times out of 10, they start their morning with a smoothie. And that's just how it is. There's something about that routine and getting it in the morning that is a domino effect for the whole rest of your day. So I do believe in the power of smoothies, and that's why I decided to go that route. And it's exhausting.
No, I love that. I have a smoothie a day as well, and it's typically like a protein smoothie. But I'm not like a plant person, honestly. It's just not the way I was like raised. So I've kind of had to rethink a lot of you know, what I knew about like food and eating and like what was like traditional. But you know, have begun to like blend in like spinach and kale and shit like that because I will not eat it otherwise. And we actually got some blender bombs, so I'm stoked to try them.
Yeah.
But I
We'll send you more products too.
Oh, thanks. Maybe we'll do like a little
I'm
giveaway
excited.
or something.
Oh yeah.
But regardless, I noticed that you guys don't use preservatives, right?
Yeah, so that's been tough.
Yeah, I mean, I could imagine. What is that what kind of challenges has that presented?
At the beginning of Blender Bombs, when I was making it myself, like hand rolling it, so I didn't have the strength to like squish out all the water content. So they would go moldy. So at the beginning, I would tell people you got to keep them in the fridge. And then once we got into the co-packer, the machines they kind of dried them out a little bit. And we had to add vinegar to them, like a smidge of vinegar just to change the pH. So vinegar is technically our natural preservative. But right now we're going through some issues with our bomb bars. It's our new product. And those have been going rancid after about 2 to 3 months. And so I think we're going to have to add vinegar to them. That's actually on my to-do list to do today. I need to talk to Casey about that. But I think we're going to have to add vinegar to them because we've been getting some rancidity issues.
Interesting.
And other than that, yeah, it's raw ingredients. So again, this whole like entrepreneurship business startup story would not be as efficient if I was dealing with the refrigerated product.
Yeah, so interesting. So from what I'm understanding, you decided to go the route of being national, blowing up, being in more hands. And one I want to point out, I love that you were like, that wasn't my goal. I love that your goal was about like your mission and not about your money. And like I feel like most people just like will say that, you know, just like, no, I don't get paid. Same. But I feel like most people will like say that, but they don't actually mean it. And you can just like tell like what you value is that you're actually like trying to make a difference in people's lives and like trying to influence them to eat better and be better and, you know, do better things for their body, which I just think is really dope.
That's why we have all the other companies too, because like Blender Bombs can get you one thing, they can get you that smoothie or like that bar, that snack. But what about a dinner time? Like that's why we have the smoothie bar and the food truck, because that's plans for dinner and I'm not going to be cooking. And then like, what about alcohol? Like everyone has eczema from drinking too much alcohol. And like, we're trying to educate people on drinking less. Like you can still have alcohol, but just drink less of it. Like drink low ABV, like even that low ABV tipsy can, like split it into 2 cocktails, or, you know, what dessert are you going to have later? So that's where the 80-20, you know, plant-based brownies come in. And the whole concept of 80-20 isn't about getting people to be vegan. You know, I'm not vegan. I don't think humans need to be vegan, right? Like we have a liver and we need stuff from animals too, but really it's just the mass production of animals that gets me fired up, because there's a more sustainable way to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And not to mention just the carbon footprint that is ruining the country and climate change.
100%. That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah. I mean, it's actually crazy.
I wish I was more educated on that.
Us too.
Yeah, honestly. We want to have someone who's like a sustainable expert on, or like sustainability coach. I think that would be really cool. Okay, so you went this route where, you know, you chose to be nationwide. Where do you stand now? Like I'm assuming you're not yet acquired, but on the road to that.
Yeah, like
we don't really know how this side works, honestly. Okay.
I don't know. All I know is we finally invested in a good accountant that they make more money than I make. Like we pay them more than I get paid, but
oh my gosh.
Yeah. But it's fine.
Ooh, that's hard.
Because I'm not going to be doing the finances, but to get acquired, you have to have your books super in line.
Yeah.
And so what we did is we started on ecom. Amazon is huge. So anyone who has a product, like get your shit on Amazon ASAP.
Yeah.
Do something called FBA, fulfilled by Amazon, and sign up under something called Seller Central. So if you go to the Amazon, like everything I just said will make sense. Seller Central and fulfilled by Amazon FBA. But sales just happen naturally on Amazon. It's such a powerhouse. It's like monopoly money. I feel like people treat Amazon as if it's monopoly money.
Yes, I do.
Buy now with one click. Yeah, I know. I'm like, close my eyes, scroll, point, buy. And with Whole Foods, how we got into Whole Foods is pretty sick. And this is just an example of the power of social media. Honestly, a lot of our small wholesale accounts that we started in. We found through social media. We would be like, hey guys, what wholesalers in your city do you want us to be in? And we get a list of mom and pop stores. We'd screenshot the suggestions. We'd send it to the mom and pop stores and be like, look, people
Oh,
want us in your
nice.
store.
I love that.
Yeah, but you got to go in the front door, the back door, the ceiling, the floorboards, like the cat door. You got to go every direction to get these people to finally text you back, right? Or email you back. But it works eventually. And then same thing happened with Whole Foods. We were like, everyone was like, local Whole Foods, local Whole Foods. No shit. We want to be Whole Foods. You think they're emailing me back? They're not.
You're like, great idea, Janet. Thank you.
I never thought of that before. Thank you, Janet. And so I went on Instagram and I was like, hey guys, Whole Foods sounds great. I just need to know if you guys know anyone who works for corporate Whole Foods, and I would love to send them like a deck. And within an hour, we had someone from Austin, Texas, like corporate Whole Foods, be like, hey, come pitch to us next month. Fly out to Austin and pitch to us.
Hell yeah.
So we did. And then we pitched again, a second pitch. And then a year later, we rolled out nationally with Whole Foods.
Wow.
I have goosebumps.
That
That's
is
awesome.
so fucking cool.
It's
Wow.
nuts. And I will also say, to get acquired, which is the end goal with the route that we took, you have got to be in retailers. Like you've got to be in big retailers to get acquired. You also have to know that you're gonna lose money on the retailers for the first 2 to 3 years for sure. Every penny that you make, oh yeah, because you've got to reinvest into marketing for the retailers, because you got to push your products there. And so those discounts that, if a box of Blender Bombs is $5 less at Whole Foods, like that we pay Whole Foods at $5. Like Whole Foods will never take a break. Things like that.
So it's coming from the business owner rather than the
Interesting.
Very interesting. And then what was the process like with Walmart? Was it the same type of deal where you just asked for a connection and it came through?
Walmart was nuts. Walmart has a killer marketing strategy.
Yeah.
We got a call or an email actually from Walmart one day 2 years ago, and they're like, hey, like, we're your local Walmart. We've been hearing good things about Blender Bombs. Like, we want to chat with you. So I'm like, okay, cool. This sounds great. I'm fucking terrified of you. And you will eat me alive.
Yeah.
Because Walmart is the biggest retailer in the world.
Yeah.
Or at least in America. I don't know about the world, but maybe. And so I was out of town, but my partner, like my ex-fiance who worked with me as well, he went and did the Walmart thing. So he walks into Walmart and there's balloons and cameramen and cake and cupcakes and cookies and like 4 Walmart execs there. And it's all being filmed. I swear I thought we were getting punked. They're like, congratulations. What the fuck is going on? I can't make this up.
What?
They're like, you've been invited to the like USA 100 Walmart pitch in Bentonville, Arkansas in 2 months.
What?
So this was his first.
Walmart needs to be humbled, bro.
So, okay, let me get this straight. So this was before he pitched to them? Like this was the first interaction with Walmart?
When he walked into the doors and it was filmed by our local news station.
That's hilarious.
Were you excited? I would have been like, what if I don't want to pitch with 100 other brands?
What if I don't want to be on camera right now? Like, that's so like
it's like invasive.
Yeah, I literally would have thought I was getting punked 100%.
We thought it was getting punked.
That's
and
hilarious.
So then 2 months later, we go to Bentonville, Arkansas, which is a sick-ass city, by the way.
Really?
Like, Walmart owns that city, and they have made it into
like
beautiful.
Walmart branded?
Everything.
Wow.
Everything.
Wow. Wait.
And there's biking trails everywhere because the Walmart sons love to bike. Anyway, so
oh my god! So I feel like that's the actual capital of America.
Yeah, literally.
It is Bentonville, Arkansas, capital of America. Anyway, so we go and we pitch, and we had decided not to do it actually because we had heard scary things about Walmart. We didn't feel like we were ready. We didn't have a strong enough team. Like our accounting wasn't set up right, and so we said no then. And then a year and a half later, we worked with a broker, and because the broker can handle a lot of the stuff that we were too scared to handle on our own. And so we went with a broker to Walmart, and a girl named Casey, who's on our team, has been handling that account like a boss. I mean, she's a
Nice.
shark. So you just need the
Nice.
right people to handle that sort of stuff.
Okay,
sure.
I love that you said that because I feel like, someone can look from the outside and be like, that sounds so scary. Like, how did you go from making this in your kitchen to selling in Walmart? And like, I just want to remind our audience, you and us, honestly, you don't have to know everything. You
Yeah.
can literally,
Oh, no.
that's what experts are for. You hire the people who know what they're doing in that position or in that like space, and then you don't have to do it. Like, I think a lot of people assume business owners have to know everything about everything within their business, and that's not true.
I should, and I don't.
No, I don't think it's true because that's, there's a reason we hire these positions. They're supposed to be experts in what they do, and that's a great example because you then had the confidence because you were like, okay, this person knows what they're doing,
Yeah.
and like
She didn't graduate college either.
Period, sis.
hell yeah, brother.
You're gonna love to see
Yeah.
it.
Love it.
Yeah, I love that, and I also just really appreciate that like you're like so honest and vulnerable because I feel like so many business owners, especially like I don't know with social media,
They glamorize
You
it.
see someone's profile and like you're just like, oh, okay, they definitely like know everything, have their shit together, and I just love when we get guests on the podcast who are like, no, I'm still fucking figuring it out because
I
it's so
don't know, y'all. It's terrifying, honestly.
it's so
That's why I
refreshing.
don't feel like I can get acquired yet.
Yeah, but you in yourself have obviously such a special set of skills to where you are able to, one, put your ego aside and admit that you don't know everything. And also, you are an amazing recruiter because you're hiring all these incredible people. Like, you have a really great sense of, like, character, obviously,
Except
for
for
these
my
people.
ex.
Yeah,
well,
we don't talk about that one.
He's in the past.
But
R.I.P.
speaking of the ex, you had mentioned that he was a partner. So I'm really curious.
Not equity partner.
Okay. Not
Life
an equity. Just like
partner.
okay, just helping out. Because I was curious, if like how that kind of went. You're like, actually, this is mine.
It was
You gotta go.
slimy. Yeah, no, it was literally just like, you gotta go.
Okay,
Bye.
love that. Yeah,
Love that.
great.
But it was, yeah, bye.
Well,
I was still trying to
lesson
figure out the
here:
house thing.
don't give a man equity. That's what.
Period.
Y'all, I was, and this is the universe, like, pointing me, I was a week away from giving him 20% of my company.
That's
A week.
That is crazy. Wow.
Dude,
And
the
then
universe
looking
fucking
out.
works out for you. Like the timing of shit,
seriously.
like you can't make it up. Like
No.
And so that happened. I was a week away. The document was drafted. There was one more edit we needed to make, and he had been begging, and like kind of holding back like feelings towards me. Like he was a little bit standoffish from me, and he would say it's because he didn't feel like respected in the business and stuff. So I was like, fuck it, like we're getting married, might as well give you part of my company because at the end of the day, we're going to be splitting it 50-50, whatever.
Mhm.
And then a week before that happened, like one of the girls he had cheated on me with called and told me the story. And then a month after that, my best friend, like in the world, was on her way. She had packed up a U-Haul and was moving her life from Charleston to go follow a guy in New York. And found out, like, opened something on the laptop, like to look at a restaurant that they were going to go to, and saw like all these text messages. And I was living with her at this time because I got out of the house. And the universe just like does its fucking thing. Like wouldn't let her move.
I want to throw this mic across the fucking.
literally, he can get these hands.
What? That's crazy. And period. That's why you tell girls if you find out that the man has a fucking fiance. Like
100%,
that's
100%.
like so many people. Like I don't know why that's
Tell
a
the girl.
discussion. I don't know why that's even a discussion. You tell the fucking person because look, she fucking saved your future. Like the universe was looking out. This girl fucking. Hopefully she didn't know about you beforehand, but like Jesus, like that's
Actually,
crazy.
it was technically a girl on my team that the girl that he cheated on me with told one of the girls on my team, and the girl on my team told me. So imagine how hard it was for her to tell her boss that her other boss was cheating on her. And she had the balls to tell me because she respected and loved me that much.
Oh, I hope she got a raise.
I honestly need to text her and be like, just want to say thank you again for.
Oh my God, I love it. Yeah, absolutely. Like,
No.
yes. That is
Always have to tell people.
That is an insane story.
That's crazy.
yeah.
I can't
It's
believe
crazy.
that.
It's crazy.
Never give a man equity. That's
Never
Period.
get a
That's the
man.
learning lesson, ladies.
Period.
That's crazy.
That's nuts.
Wow.
Tyler, you're signing a prenup.
You deserve. I mean, you just deserve so much. You're
And
such a fucking rock star.
I met this awesome guy in Atlanta, and he's inside right now, actually.
Yes, you did,
But,
sis. Yes, you did.
Yes, I did, y'all. He's amazing.
Yay.
He really
Dude,
is.
honestly, and we were having this conversation even before we started the podcast about like Jess has been like saying these what are they called?
Just
Mantras.
affirmations.
She's like mantras,
We love an
affirmations,
affirmation.
and like she's like, dude, this shit is working. Like it's crazy. And I mean, the universe is fucking looking out for you, even when you're not understanding why things
Yes.
are happening. It is looking out for you. You have to be open, and you have to trust, and you have to be receptive.
You do. Affirmations work. That's another
They
hot
do.
take.
No,
What
I mean,
what affirmations do you do?
yeah. So I like lost touch with like my spiritual side for a minute. Like I was just going through it, and then I like just decided I was like, hey, I just really need to like get back to that. And like the first step I just decided was affirmations. And I saw this one going viral on TikTok, and so many people were like duetting it and being like, oh my
Hell
god,
yeah.
this is crazy. So I was like, all right, let me just fuck around and do it. And it was the first one was I don't chase, I attract. What is meant for me will simply find me. And that was just the first one. And I said it in a very general sense. And like the first thing that happened was every single guy from like my fucking past
Shut up.
I swear to God, like I was sending screenshots to Olivia like twice in a day, twice the next day, like guys that like ghosted me. And like I was like, fuck you, haven't spoken to them in years. And I was like, why are you messaging me? And they were like, I just thought of you. And I ignored all of those things because I was like, the universe is testing me right now, essentially. Because it's like, you know, I don't need those guys in my life.
The devil works hard, but those men work harder.
Facts. And so after that, I started a new affirmation, and it was like, I'm grateful for all of the joy, abundance, and love in my life, and I am open and I am receiving it. And in the past like week, I have had like multiple just jobs come in, like just insane opportunities and money, like
Travel opportunity yesterday.
Crazy stuff is happening.
Like
It's actually
like,
crazy.
Yesterday, now she's going to a festival in 2 weeks for 3 days and getting paid to go. Like just,
getting paid to go.
Yes,
It's
you are.
like how crazy. I was like, what is my life right now?
Okay, you have to say that one more time. What's the one that you just
I
joy,
actually,
what was it?
let me pull it up like exactly so that I can. This is it. The second one is I am grateful for all of the joy, abundance, and love that finds me today. I am open, I receive, and I am ready.
for this day.
Repeat one more time.
You're the worst.
I am grateful for all the joy, abundance, and love I am finding today.
That finds me today.
Oh,
And I am open, I receive, and I am ready.
Bring it
I
on,
love
baby.
that.
Yeah,
Guys,
it's
everyone
great.
has to be ready.
Yeah, everyone
Yes.
who's listening, write that down. Say it to yourself. Say it with us. Maybe we should just say it before
I'm
every
grateful.
episode.
I've been trying to say
Yeah.
it in the morning and at night.
I
Like
love
I'm
that.
just
Manifesting.
anytime I remember it, I'm just repeating it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's really just it's a vibrational like mindset shift
Yes.
because you are literally just bringing yourself a little bit higher than you were before. You know what I mean?
Dude, everything that you do is a vibe. So, have you ever gone over the vibrational scale with your listeners?
No, but I think I saw a TikTok about it literally yesterday.
I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah, I'm gonna it's really awesome. And so the vibrational scale, so if you have your phone on you, people, go ahead and pull it up, and it talks about, what's a low vibration versus high vibration. So middle of the tiers, appointment, doubt, and feeling overwhelmed. The highest that you can feel is joy, appreciation, empowerment, freedom, love. So that's the mantra that you just said. And then second, passion. Third, enthusiasm, happiness. Fourth, positivity, belief, optimism. 5 is hopefulness. 6, contentment. 7 is when we start getting a little bit lower, is boredom. And then pessimism, frustration, overwhelm, disappointment. But like the worst things are anger and revenge, hatred and rage, jealousy, insecurity, guilt, or unworthiness. Insecurity, guilt, or unworthiness, I repeat. And then the worst vibration is fear, despair, powerlessness. So those 2 things are what people struggle with the most in the world: fear, insecurity, guilt, or unworthiness. So like doing those affirmations, if you do that mantra that you just said, which is the absolute highest vibration of joy and appreciation and freedom and love, then you can counter any of those feelings of like negative self-talk or feeling powerless or unworthy. But every word that you say, every word that you speak, specifically every word that you speak, we've got to stop like, talking shit about people and talking shit about ourselves. Because every word
Yes.
you think or speak will affect your vibration, and you will not be attracting things when your vibration is low. There's a 0% chance.
Yeah.
100%. I was actually just telling my sister this. We were having just like, a heart to heart, and we were talking just about her like self-confidence and self-esteem. And I'm like, I asked her the question, when you like start to think these thoughts, do you have another voice coming in that's defending you and sticking up for you? Or is it just a downward spiral? And
That's a lot.
she was like, no, I don't. Like, I have a devil and an angel, and the devil is definitely like overtaking the conversation. Because I realized,
Holy
like, when
shit.
I start to have those negative feelings and negative thoughts, I immediately have someone else jumping in and being like, hey, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to have some grace with ourselves. Okay, that's natural to feel. It's valid that you feel that way. And like, I don't know if that's years of self-work, if that's reading, if that's the podcast I've listened to, but that is such like it happens immediately.
Yeah.
Like my brain doesn't even let me go there. And I think that is so powerful and something that, it has to be cultivated, because I don't know if it comes naturally for everyone, but like listen to the way that we speak to ourselves. Like, and I asked my sister, would you speak to anyone else who you love the way you speak to yourself? Do you treat yourself how you treat the people you love? Like that all matters. Like you said,
And
like
you can
everything you
change.
say. Yes, you can.
It does take work though. Like it's not going to happen overnight.
Absolutely.
So
And that's
what
why
types of like podcasts and stuff did you listen to transform that?
I think it's more the
mainly
books. I think it's the books that we've read. Yeah. I saw you have some.
Or listen to.
You're into books or audiobooks? What are you into?
Yeah. Audiobooks only.
Okay. What's like your top 3 personal development?
I'm obsessed with Big Magic. I love the magic.
I love the
of
Big
thinking
Magic.
Big.
Okay.
Yeah. Big Magic, Magic of Thinking Big. I really like the book Let My People Go Surfing. It's a mindset book that's magical.
Wait, what is it called?
Essentialism. It's called Let My People Go Surfing. It's about
Let My People Go Surfing.
by the owner of Patagonia. And it talks a lot about his business, but it's his mindset around business. It's again the vibrational scale, like freedom is the very highest vibration. And when you give your employees freedom, your business is going to be successful.
Company culture.
And when you like constrict someone, when you constrict their hours, when you constrict their workflow, like when you constrict your employees, like it's not going to be a positive work environment. So that book transformed the way I thought about business too.
Ooh,
and
love
essentialism.
Essentialism?
I might write
cool.
that down.
Love that so much. And kind of, I think to wrap up the conversation, we do have 2 questions we want to ask you towards the end. But now that we're on the topic, it's something I wanted to ask you before about like building a team and company culture and what that looks like for you.
Yeah, so it's hard. What I have learned is there's different types of people in the world. And in a startup, especially a startup where cash flow is king because we don't have investors and we don't want investors yet. You've got to have people that thrive in chaos. It's the type of people who honestly who drop out of college. It really is. The people who thrive in chaos, who don't give a fuck, who work their asses off, who don't need structure.
I'm like, no, I'm dead ass writing this down.
Thrive in chaos.
Yes, you thrive in chaos and you don't need structure.
I love that.
And then there's the types of people for corporate America where they need that 9 to 5. They need a communal setting. They need structure. They need reporting. They need no contact past 5 p.m.,
Yeah.
And then there's people also have 2 ways of seeing things. Like you see your job as a paycheck or you see your job as growth. So when I find a person who sees the value, like, and they know that like when this company sells, they're going to get a good chunk, but they're sucking it up just like the rest of us for the next 10 years, as long as it's enjoyable. Like the job is always enjoyable because there's a lot of freedom that comes with it. It's a shit ton of freedom that comes with blender bombs, right? But if you don't see the value of this company selling and you cashing out and getting out, then there's no place for you here.
Right.
Like if you're looking for a steady job, like it's not here.
Yeah.
And do you worry about like loyalty, because we've just been concerned, like, what if someone, were to get a better offer? Because we do offer, like, a really great work environment and great hours, flexibility, and everything like that. But, we do worry that if someone were to
by the way, this is for, we own a creative agency. So that's
Yeah.
what this is for.
Yeah. I'm just curious. Do you kind of like fear losing people because of that?
Oh no. The first thing I tell people when I hire them is like, you're free to leave anytime. Like if this job is not serving you, please leave. And like,
Yeah.
you'll never, ever, ever hurt my feelings. Cause genuinely you won't. Like a girl who worked with us for 3 years, who I mentored for 4 years before that, worked with us for 3 years, and Tuesday was her last day. And like, it's a celebration because she got a job that pays more. It's extremely structured. And like, that's what she thrives in, is stability. And I always want the best for my team. And like, again, different life paths. Like if this isn't serving someone anymore, like make room for someone who does want this.
Right. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. And it's happy. It's happy when someone leaves.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's about work love languages, like we said the other day. Like making sure
Dude,
it's a good
like
fit.
dating.
It really
It
is.
is totally like dating.
It is.
And we're learning that right now because we just, we launched a creative agency in January. We're like scaling at a pretty good pace. Thanks. So we have, our first hire, and she's a rock star. And we actually just recently hired someone else last week. And that's just something that we're definitely learning, is like, oh my God, this is like so much like dating. It really is.
It's hard. Dating's hard, man.
Yeah,
finding a person.
Whole other conversation. I wanted to, how many people are in your team right now? What does it look like?
5. And
cool.
I like keeping it small. Like, a lot of the times our employees want to make more money and they want to take more on. So we keep it tight and small. But we use a lot of freelancers.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Yeah, I love it.
So for photography, videography, social media, customer service, like we like outsource all that, and accounting.
We do content creation
and social media management.
You guys do.
Yeah, we'll send you a pitch after.
Yeah, go for it.
Cool. Okay, let's wrap it up. I think we have like 2 last questions we want to ask you, and this has just been like such a great conversation. And thank you for giving us your time. We obviously know how valuable that is, and really appreciate your transparency, your vulnerability, and your time.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Duh. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So our last 2 questions. The first one is, what is the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
Save your money. Save
it. Not what I wanted to hear.
All of it. I know. And it's the hardest lesson to learn because, like I said, I didn't grow up, giving everything handed on a silver spoon. Like I was safe and beyond comfortable for sure. But when I started making money, before we went the route of like trying to get acquired one day, I spent too much. And that really is like one of my biggest regrets. But yeah, so save your money. Honestly, like people say save 25%. I'm like, save 40%. Especially if you're a business owner.
Yeah. I just got this question on my stories yesterday about saving. And it's weird because I wrote a whole paragraph about it and just like, my thoughts on it. So yeah, interesting. Saving is like
get
coming
another
up.
bank account, set up automatic payments.
Yeah.
So that you don't see that money in your bank account.
Yeah.
Like,
that's the key.
If you don't see it, you're not going to spend it.
Absolutely.
For sure.
And also we have to change our mindset around like big ass purchases. Traveling's different. I do believe like spending money on traveling is very valuable, but spending $3,000 on a Gucci purse, like don't be a victim of their marketing. Like you're better than that.
No,
I buy fake bags. Disclaimer.
Yeah. Honestly, do it.
No,
if you ever see Liv with a Dior, shit's fake.
Shit is fake. And I tell everyone's like, oh, your bag. I'm like, shit's fake. I would never spend $3,000 on a bag.
It's almost like embarrassing.
Like you're smarter than that.
To have people think that you spent that money.
Yeah. Like,
it's like, oh, cool, you're irresponsible.
Exactly. It's irresponsible.
Yeah. Like,
even if I had into that trap. I do have it. I'm just like, no, I'm not. I would rather go to Europe. Like, no.
Exactly. Like, what? Yeah, there's no comparison.
Anyways.
I mean, having both.
But do what you want. Do what you please. Live your truth. I am going to ask the next question. The next question is, what is your best biz pro tip? So something that's like practical, or an app that you use, or task management.
So I always So email is king, right? You know, if I think of something to do, there's two things. If you think of something, you have to do it immediately. That's why, and honestly, to a fault sometimes, but that's why on this podcast, you saw me pick up my phone twice because like I forgot I had to do things. And I just had to email myself real quick and be like, hey, do this. Just a quick subject line, keep it as unread in your email until you complete it.
Oh,
And once you complete it, you can mark it as unread. And then, yeah, so that's kind of my pro tip is email yourself something you have to do. And then the second pro tip is do not wait to email yourself. And then maybe the third pro tip is like when you're with your friends, if you do have to work, go to the bathroom and do it because my friends got mad at me for not being present a lot.
Ooh,
Yeah,
I love
feel
that. I love
Wow.
that. Thank you for sharing that.
I'm like,
Yeah.
small bladder, I gotta go to the bathroom 5 times during dinner.
Wow, that's so smart though, because at least they're not like associating you with like always being on your phone or the workaholic. And
Yeah.
it's so, and it sucks because like even when I'm on like a date or something, I'm like getting like my Slack channels going off and I'm like, oh, I really need to handle this, but I don't want this guy to be like, oh, the influencer is sitting there on her phone all day.
Yeah, 100%.
Super cool.
Yeah, right.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
I love that.
I love that a lot. And it does help you be present when you are with them in front of them, you know?
Yeah, because then you're not
It's a
like,
different-
worried about your phone going off and
it's a
shit.
different environment. You can just like check in, check out.
Mhm.
Thank
Love
you.
that.
Thank
Yeah,
you
exactly.
so much for sharing everything. If people want to follow you in your journey, where can they find you at?
Yeah. On Instagram at Helen Hall, and feel free to DM me whenever. Dim me. Feel free to DM me whenever. And then we can do a discount code for your followers. What's like a discount code that you usually use?
WAW, whiskey and water,
Yeah.
or WW.
Yeah, WW.
Yeah, WW.
What about
WWW.
whiskey? Can we just do whiskey?
Yes, absolutely.
fine.
Okay, let's do whiskey for 15% off.
Damn it.
I like that word.
Yeah, fuck
And
you.
then water for 20, bitch. No, I'm kidding.
Perfect. Whiskey for 15% off. Love
Yeah,
that.
check-
Blenderbombs.com. And also we're on
Yes.
Instagram at Blenderbombs for recipes and stuff.
Yes,
Love that.
amazing. All right, guys, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to post a screenshot on your story, tag us, let us know you're listening. Or you can always, if you like don't post on your stories, you can always just DM us and let us know you love the episode and that you listened. And we will see you next week for another episode. Have a great week, brothers. We love you. See you on
See
the
you
other
next
side.
week.
Bye.